Hi, I'm Pamela Gamez, and I'm here in Cuadros Corner.
Cuadros' Corner is a podcast whose purpose is to bring connection within the local community of the Rio Grande Valley, a digital networking landscape to meet people through their stories of passion, business, desires, triumphs, and obstacles. Check out the podcast description to connect with guests through their links, and thank you for listening to Cuadros' Corner. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment.
In today's episode, we are going to talk about travel nursing, mental health, and career transitions, so stay tuned.
I would like to quickly interrupt to talk to you about our sponsor, Backdoor Modern Vintage. It's a creative hub which features different backgrounds for photography, video, or podcasting. Located at 907 West Business 83, Weslaco, Texas, you can also find a variety of props for your projects and an assortment of wardrobe to rent or buy as well. Backdoor Modern Vintage, located at 907 West Business 83, Weslaco, Texas. You can make an appointment by texting or calling 956-619-3830. Backdoor Modern Vintage. Pam, thanks for coming to the podcast.
Yes, of course.
How are you feeling?
Well, I'm nervous, but excited as well.
I'm actually very excited that you're here because you reached out to me maybe like a month ago, like at the beginning of the month, and which is where we met actually at Montserrat's volunteer event, where we were helping out the community, and we all had like different stations, lots of games. But I was so excited that you wanted to come because you immediately started telling me a little bit about yourself when you met me. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself now for the podcast? Where are you from? Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Yeah. So this is a very long story, but I was born in Wisconsin. My mom was a migrant worker, and so was my grandma. So my mom raised me as a single mom, my grandma and my mom. And so I was born in Wisconsin, and every year, half a year, I would live in Wisconsin, and the other half of year, I would live here in Texas, in Weslaco.
Right. Which is where we are today.
Yes. And my mom met my stepdad, and we moved to New Mexico. So I went to middle school, high school there. I would come back and forth and visit the RGV area. Because I have family here. A lot of my family still lives here.
Right.
And I never thought I would move back here, but here I am.
When did you, how old were you when you were moving back? Like you were like, I'm moving back for sure.
Honestly, coming back here has been on my mind in the past 2 years. There was just something that was telling me I should probably come back here and give it a chance. Just live here with my grandma, with my aunts and uncles and my cousins. And I would see that I would miss a lot of like family activities. So it made me miss like the family dynamics. And I think that I was missing that for a long time. So I thought about it. I lived in the East Coast for a little bit in the state of Maine, which was beautiful. I loved it there. I actually wanted to move out there, but there was something telling me like, no, you need to come back to the valley. So I'm here, and I feel like it's for a reason.
And when you were in Maine and other places that was not here, and someone were to ask you, where are you from? Like, what's the Rio Grande Valley like? Can you like tell us a little bit more about how you would explain this area to people that were from somewhere else?
I always tell people that like the RGV area is, I mean, personally, I love it. It's still home. Like I would always say I'm from here, even though like I've moved to so many different places. I love the culture here. I love the food, the people. Like I think that's another thing that I was missing, like because in the state of Maine, there's not many Hispanics. But I was just missing like the culture and just like, you know, being able to speak to someone in Spanish. Like I couldn't even do that in Maine. I mean, you know.
Yeah, it was very, I'm assuming very difficult to find Spanish-speaking people over there, right? Because
Oh yeah.
it's, if not the furthest state in the United States,
Yeah.
other than Alaska and Hawaii, right? But like, it's really up there.
Yeah, it's by Canada.
Yeah.
So I actually did not meet any Hispanics over there. I think in New York City, that's where you would see more like Colombians, Cubans, but not really Mexicans. I haven't really met Mexicans. I feel like we stick in like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, but yeah.
But what did your family say when you decided to move up there to the Northeast? Like, were they like the type of family members where you would send them pictures of what you were doing the whole time, or like what was that like, you being away to some other planet in, you know, other world?
Yeah. So honestly, I was living in Arizona, and I moved back to the RGV area. I would say August in 2021, 2022. No, 2021. And I was here for 3 months, and I was like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like, you know, the Hispanic culture, it's very strong. And my family, I mean, I haven't lived with my family in a long time, like near them. And I feel like, I think I was going through something personal, and I felt like I needed to be on my own. Right. I wanted to isolate myself, basically. And I was like, I want to go somewhere like, I don't know anyone. I've never been. It's like so different from home. And so I finally decided to do travel nursing, and that was a state that I chose. So.
In Arizona?
No, in Maine.
Oh, so it was Arizona, came back to the Valley, and then went to Maine.
And then went to Maine.
So you just made a pit stop here?
I made a pit stop. Yeah, I did. So technically, this was my first travel assignment.
Right.
Because I grew up in I went to college in New Mexico. I started my career in Arizona. And then I decided, okay, maybe it's time to go to the Valley. And it didn't feel right at that time. So...
this was 2021, right?
Yes, 2021. Okay. And it just didn't feel right at the time. Yeah. So I was like, I think like, I'm very religious, and I feel like God was like, I don't know, I think I needed to challenge myself. I needed to face my fear of being alone and isolating myself. And I just wanted to do it on my own.
And you were up there for how long?
On and off for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
What did you learn, like, by just being by yourself up there? You said that you wanted to isolate because there was something that you felt that you needed to grow, like something needed to grow inside of you. What was that like when you were over there finally by yourself?
It was honestly scary at first. My family didn't want me to leave. Like, they were like, you're a woman going by yourself, like, so far away, like, we don't know anyone over there. So they were very like hesitant, against it. And I was just like, no, I feel like this is what I feel like this is what I should do. Even though I was so terrified of going over there, I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. So I left, and I remember I got to the airport. It was the middle of like winter time, January. Yeah. And I remember I got there, and I literally panicked. And I was like, what the heck did I do? Like, I don't know anyone here. Yeah. And I remember I called my friend, like, panicking, and I was like, no, I think I'm gonna go back. No, I'm gonna go back. And she was like, no, like, this is gonna be good for you. Like, regardless, whatever happens, you're gonna grow from this. Yeah. And so I ended up staying, and it was honestly the best decision that I could have made for myself.
And you mentioned that it was your first assignment out of I guess Southwest. Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to choose that career path?
So nursing. So I guess when I was in high school, we took a personality test, and it kind of tells you what career like fits your personality based on like the choices like you made on the questions. And mine said one of them was nursing. Yeah. And I told my mom, and she always wanted to be a nurse when she was younger. So she like really enforced it with me and my sister to become nurses, because no matter what, we're always going to have a job. We're always going to have stability. So I decided to go for nursing. I love what I do, but I feel like the aspect of nursing that I love the most is talking to someone one-on-one, like the mental health aspect.
Okay.
So I am currently trying to go back to school to get my NP in psychiatry.
That's awesome. You had mentioned something around the time when I met you that you were studying, you were going back to school. So it's very interesting how now are you like halfway done, or are you about to finish?
No, I'm about to start.
Okay, it's exciting then.
Yes, it took a while to decide if I wanted to go back to school and what I wanted to do, because I think when I went to Maine and decided to do travel nursing, it was so exciting. It was so different, but I was so focused on like healing and like my mental health journey and just healing and growing, meeting new people and traveling and seeing all these places that I've never been and always wanted to go. So the last thing on my mind was like, what else do I want to do in my career?
Yeah. You're just focused.
Just so focused on like, like getting involved in like the community over there and meeting friends and, so I was so focused on like just getting more aligned mind, body, and spirit and just, I guess, isolating myself so then I can know like, who am I as a person? What are my values? What are my morals? And like, what type of person do I want to show up in this world?
Yeah.
And I feel like for someone to do that, you do have to isolate yourself.
Yeah.
You have to get away from family even and like friends that have known you since you were younger, or I didn't even have social media at the time.
Yeah.
I totally isolated myself, and I was just like, reading and like meeting new people and just really getting to know myself.
So does that come about as a reason for being that you decided to embark on a new study on something new and start school? Was that part of it?
Yes. I think along that journey, I was like, I figured out what are my passions. Because I think before I was just kind of like, kind of going about day-to-day life. And I think it's interesting when you focus on yourself, you're not really putting so much pressure, but you're just trying to like navigate, life yourself. I think you find out what are your passions, So it kind of led me to getting my NP in psychiatry.
So if you had to like, looking back, everything that you went to, how would you, like you said, you had to be by yourself in order to find your passion. What piece of advice would you tell yourself, going back to that time where you were like, I need to be by myself, like I need to grow? Like, is there anything that you learned that you could give as a piece of advice to yourself?
I would tell myself that it's going to be okay and like you're going to get through this and this is like the best thing you could do for yourself. But I knew that even at that time when I made that decision, I was like, I'm so terrified, but I know this is good for me. And I think sometimes the best things for us are the hardest decisions to make.
So let me try to get this right. What is the proper way of saying your new career? What's the terminology?
The new career?
Yeah, what you're studying now.
So nurse practitioner, you can basically I would have to go to school for 2 years. Since I'm already a registered nurse, I go back to school and get NP, nurse practitioner.
Okay.
And you can specialize in something, in whatever you want. And I want to specialize in psychiatry.
So you're just like adding to your, I guess, armor,
yes.
Right? In a way.
Yeah, because I knew when I started nursing, I knew I wanted to do something else. I've always been so intrigued with psychology. But I think, at the time when you're young, when you're 18 and someone asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's kind of hard. I feel for some people they know. But I think that I was still trying to figure out who I was, you know? And I feel like now as an adult, I feel like I'm more confident in knowing like what I want to do. And I think it's very important that people take that step into that journey to find out like, you know, what you want to do.
And as a nurse practitioner who is now about to add psychiatry or psychology?
Psychiatry. So
Psychiatry.
I'll be a psychiatrist.
So how would you be able to help people as well, like for those that might be in the same situation that you were, where you're like not sure what you wanted to go?
That's the goal.
Is that,
Yeah.
or what would be the, I guess, who would be the people that you would help the most, like those that are seeking your help?
So for me, when I think about like who I want to help, it's definitely because psychiatry you can do inpatient or outpatient. Inpatient is when more in the hospital setting, and outpatient is someone who seeks you.
Okay.
I feel like I want to help people that maybe are feeling lost. They don't know where to start, and they need someone to help them along the way. And I feel like I think naturally I'm very a people person. I care about people. I want to make a difference in this world, and I feel like it makes me happy, like knowing like this is my passion. Nice. And I get really emotional about it because it took a while to get to where I'm at. Because I think I was like, if I want to help people, I want to also like help myself and be in a good place where I can be able to help people, you know? And I feel like I'm there.
And you must be really proud to finally feel like, you know, this is the purpose and I've written it down and that's what I'm aiming for.
Yes, it feels so good. Because I think that's like kind of a question that a lot of people ask themselves, what is my purpose? And I think that's something that, you know, everyone puts a lot of pressure on themselves, but it's not, your purpose doesn't have, like, because whenever someone asks that question or whenever I have a conversation with someone about that, they're like, my like purpose, like it has to be something huge, like I have to be like famous or I have to help so many people. But I mean, not necessarily. Like your purpose every day changes. Maybe your purpose that day was to be like, for example, like you can come cross paths with someone who was having a bad day and you smile at them.
Yeah.
You just don't know. Like you have, I think us as people, we have so much power, like our words, our actions. So I'm always very cautious on what I say, what I do, because I think nursing and just like, I think analyzing myself and other people, it really does have an effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, when it comes to helping people in your career, has that helped you with relationships outside of your work? Are you more of, I guess my question is, do you feel more compassionate for people because you've been surrounded with this like for a while? Tell me a little bit more about that.
So before nursing, I'm not going to say I was selfish, but in some aspects, yes, I was. And I think when I started my career, I saw how people lived. People that were not healthy, people that maybe didn't have legs, they couldn't see, they didn't, you know, they were like near death because of an illness that they have. And it just made me realize how lucky I am and how grateful I am for my life.
Yeah.
And it made me compassionate for sure. I think it humbled me very much though, and it changed me, but for the better.
Yeah, yeah.
I am more compassionate towards people, and maybe that's also can be a weakness too. But I think it's a strength because I'm very compassionate to people, but I'm very intentional on who I let into my life and who I don't.
I think being compassionate is not a weakness. I think it's a strength because anybody could be the opposite of compassionate. It's easier. And being strong and being able to lend your your talents to help someone feel better. I think that's not weak at all.
Thank you.
But now switching gears to helping people with how they're thinking and their the way they're feeling about themselves, right? How do you feel that something like that could benefit a person in a day-to-day scenario? Like, does that mean they have better relationships in the workplace, better with family? What does that look like when someone knows that they need to get better up here?
So, for me personally, and everyone has a different opinion, but for me, I know that in order for me to be a more confident and a better version of myself, I have to get better within myself. Like I have to be, I have to heal certain things. I think everyone does. Because here's the thing, there's some people who can seek money or fame or just popularity or whatever. And it's not fulfilling. And I think maybe I got to a point where I was like, I don't feel good. Even though like people would tell me like, oh, you seem to like have everything in life. Like, you should be so happy. And I just didn't feel like that on the inside. And I was like, what does it all matter if I'm not feeling good?
Yeah.
So I think in order for me to be, because here's the thing, I think also like when people seek happiness, it's a fleeting feeling. I'm not saying you shouldn't seek happiness, but I think you should seek more like, what are your values? What are your morals? Who are you as a person?
Yeah.
Because I think that will, no matter where you go, no one's going to take that away from you.
Yeah.
And so I think I knew that more because I traveled like all my life and I met so many different people. I think it just made me realize that like mental health is important. It's something that everyone should like focus on. But I just don't think no one knows where to start.
Yeah. Where would one start if they're like confused about it?
Everyone's journey is so unique. It's hard, to think about, well, what do I do? But I think the best advice I could give someone that I tried everything. I started reading books, self-help books. I journaled. I started going to church. I did like Bible study groups. I got a psychologist. I started going to therapy.
So everything, literally.
Everything. Started eating healthier. I did everything because I was like, I don't know what to do. So I'm going to do it all and see what works for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best thing that someone can do for themselves. And I traveled so much too. I moved across the country. I'm not saying like someone has to do that, but like for me, that worked.
Yeah. So just kind of like not being afraid to try different things.
No, because you never know what you're going to discover. Because I've found out so many things about myself that I didn't even know.
Right.
And I feel like, I think as humans, I don't think it's unique to me, but I feel like as humans, we're all resilient. And I think people want to stay in their comfort zone. And I get it. I mean, being in your comfort zone, it's comfortable.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, it's the best. It's like a security blanket.
Yeah, it's a cozy security blanket.
Yes, exactly. But if you're always in your comfort zone, you're never going to grow.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. Let me ask you, do you find it to be that you're very passionate about talking about mental health? Is that a passion of yours?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Have you found it rather easier or harder to speak about mental health in the Valley?
Oh. So it depends on who I talk to.
Yeah.
Because some people, they don't want to hear any of that. They're very like, I don't even believe in that. Like, just get over it kind of mentality.
Why do you think it's such a taboo thing to even talk about? Like, where did that even come from?
I don't know. I think it's like it's our culture, you know? And I feel like even growing up, I was always very sensitive, and my mom would be like, don't cry. That's the sign of weakness. Or like, you know, so I would feel like, but why is that? Like, I think when you hold your emotions in, medically speaking, like I feel like when we hold our emotions in, whether that's your anxiety, sadness, whatever it is, it manifests into something else. And I see it all the time in nursing, where people can have a lot of anxiety, or there's something going on in their life, they don't talk about it. So what happens? They get GI issues. They have something else. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not going to go scientific speaking, but like I know that
you could if you wanted to.
I think, well, it's been proven that I'm not sure who the doctor is or anything, but whenever you hold an emotion in, like, where does that go? That's energy.
Yeah.
You know, like some people can experience GI issues, or I think, like, even I was experiencing it. I was so anxious all the time, and I wasn't coping with it at all. And what happened? Like, I started getting so nauseous. And I remember going to the doctor and being like, they were like, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I promise you I'm not fine.
It was that energy that you're keeping.
Yeah. It was all that energy, all that stress. That stress that was building up in my body. It was deteriorating my health. Yeah.
Why does it feel so good to just like vent to other people? Is that part of that?
It feels good when you find a good group of people, when you have people that are willing to listen and willing to, like, what do they say? Like, listen with an open heart, and like, or something.
Like, don't listen to reply, listen to understand.
Yes. And I think some people, it doesn't happen that way.
How do we find people that fit that scenario there? Like, how do we look for those people? Is it like a certain feature of their personality, or what are we looking for when we want someone to listen to our problems? Does it have to be like a friend? Could it be a psychologist? Like, what was that like?
So growing up, I didn't have friends that would really listen to me, because I couldn't even articulate my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions. I've been lucky enough to find the right people at the right place at the right time. I feel like God has placed people in my life for a reason and for a season or whatever. And I feel like it was like, I would have friendships for a lifetime, you know, because they helped me along my journey, because I would pray for that. I would pray for friendships that were where I can be myself, where I felt comfortable, where I can be my most authentic self and be vulnerable. And, you know, I think it can be hard for people, because I get it. Like, it's hard to trust people. You don't know what their intentions are. But I think we all have good intuition too. So you can tell who's a good person to vent to and who's not.
So I guess the follow-up question to that would be, like, when you get your education, are you planning on helping people with anything that might be on their mind? Do you want to open your own practice down here? What does the future look like for you when it comes to that?
That's the goal. I'm really good at like listening to people, trying to understand them. I don't know, I feel like I can really relate to a lot of people. Because I think, you know, in some way, when I was younger, I always felt like I wish I had someone that would listen to me or understand me. And now, like, that I'm older, I feel like I want to be that person for someone.
Like like an older sister, older brother type of feeling.
Yeah, because I think everyone needs someone.
Mm-hmm.
Someone can maybe watch this and be like, no, I don't need anyone. And that's okay, But I think we're social creatures. Mm-hmm. We're built to be, have human interaction, mm-hmm. have that like connection with people.
Of course. You were mentioning, if someone were to listen to this, I was very curious, what were you hoping to, I guess your message to because it's important, right? Your story, like you were mentioning that you had never done a podcast before or mm-hmm. anything similar to this.
Yeah.
What are you hoping that your story can do for other people that might be listening or watching?
I guess I would hope that, there's people who are not afraid to take risk and to do the thing that you fear the most. Mm-hmm. Because I think that there comes a lot of good with reaching, just doing things that you're scared of. Mm-hmm. A lot of growth comes out of it.
Yeah.
I find that I think our own worst enemy is not other people, it's ourselves. So I think I would want to share to people, just do what you're afraid of, Mm-hmm. Or if you want to go travel, mm-hmm. go travel. Yeah. If you want to ask the girl you've been wanting to go on a date with or a guy, just do it. Yeah. Just have more confidence in yourself and that you can do whatever you set your mind to do.
I love that. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what are you most confident about in your life right now?
My resilience. I feel like no matter what, and I think that comes with I know I'm very religious. I believe in God. Mm-hmm. I know with God I can do anything. I feel very good. I feel like I'm so happy that I decided to go to church because I think that's when things started to make more sense. Mm-hmm. That's when I started to be more confident mm-hmm. in myself, Yeah. Because I think in this world, it's just, I think people just think about worldly things, mm-hmm. and I feel like in the Bible, it just teaches you we're so much more than just what the world says, mm-hmm. There is. And I think I'm just confident in my resilience and just trying things that scare me. I mean, mm-hmm. this scared me to even do, but I did it.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
And picking up on that, I actually met Geneva, your friend who's here in the audience, by the way, through church as well. And one of the ways that I guess I don't say pushed, but came to an understanding that there's a higher power was because of sudden thing that I took. And I've never been very religious myself, but everything that I had thought about throughout my whole life about religion, it just felt like it caught up to me, all those doubts and all those negative things and feelings I had about it caught up to me in that moment. And it was just don't be afraid to surrender to the message was, don't be afraid to surrender, because often people think that surrendering means that you're weak, but it's actually the opposite. Let go and mm-hmm. and you will be in His grace. You're.
And I think that's the thing. You have to let go of control.
Yeah.
And we want to be in control.
Yeah.
When sometimes you're. I mean, are we ever in control? I think the only control you really have is just your mindset.
Yeah.
Not really like other people. You can't control how someone else is going to react to you, what other people are going to say. You only have control of what you do.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's the thing. And then also, like, I think because sometimes we're so scared, we want to take more control.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't
Less
work.
control is better.
Just let go. Yeah.
Let me bring it back to present and where we are right now.
Yes.
We're currently in Weslaco and Backdoor Modern Vintage. Can you tell me what your initial impression was of the store and what you think about it? And tell us about what you're wearing.
Yes. So I I fell coming in here really bad.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's never happened before, by the way. No one has ever fell.
Of course, it would happen to me, but it's okay. I made an entrance. I love it. It's so amazing here. Like, they have such cool, like, dresses. Like, I feel like this is like a girl's dream.
And there's a bear in the back.
Oh, there is? Oh my God. Oh, yes. That's not a girl's dream. But yeah, everything else, it's very beautiful. I love it. Like, it's so cool. I didn't even know this place existed.
Yeah, me neither, until I came one day.
Yeah. No, it's really nice. I love it. And then I'm wearing this really pretty dress. It's purple. Really nice. One of my favorite colors. But yeah, it's really, yeah.
I love it. And the reason why I'm touching on where we are is because I always ask my guests, we're here in the Valley, and obviously there's a really popular catchphrase that's Puro 956 that everyone says. What do you think about that quote? Like, what does that make you feel, Puro 956, when you hear that?
You know what's interesting? I just heard it this year. I was like, Puro 956. Honestly, when I think about that, it's just like having, what is it? Like having like pride in where you're, like, being from the RGV area.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think of.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Pride.
And I love that. Puro 956.
Yeah. People are always telling me different answers. They say, like, yeah, it's pride, or it's funny, or it's a meme, or it means we're Mexican, or like, so it's interesting to hear the different, how everybody feels about it.
Yeah.
But, as we're closing down in the podcast here, what's like one thing that you're most looking forward to when it comes to talking about mental health? Like, if we were to take away the taboo-ness of it, how can people benefit from just having an open dialogue about mental health?
I mean, you can benefit a lot from it. I think that, well, for one, you'll feel better. Like, when I started talking more about, like, how I felt, like, it felt like a relief. Like a weight lifted off my shoulder. Obviously, you don't talk to just anyone. You want to talk to someone who you trust, whether that's a psychiatrist, a trusted friend, a family member. You feel like you're not alone. And I think that's what a lot of people think right now. I'm alone.
Yeah.
Whenever someone's dealing with that, like something, they're like, I feel alone. And so whenever someone takes the courage to talk to someone, they feel like, okay, like, I'm not alone in this. And like, I think it's interesting because the more you talk to other people, the more I feel like we go through similar things. Doesn't matter what your background is, like where you're from, like, yes, everyone has a unique situation, like a unique background, but really we have all the same emotions. And the more you open yourself up to people, you'll learn that.
The more you'll be like, hey, that's like me.
Yeah.
Hey, that happened to me.
Exactly. And you connect with people so much more.
Yeah.
You make authentic connections that way.
Love that.
Yeah.
Is there any special shout outs or messages that you want to give out to any of your family, friends, colleagues that might be listening? Anything you want to get off your chest?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm so grateful that I'm here. I love the RGV area. I've met so many great people here. I guess, like my friend Geneva, she's here supporting me, which I love. I met through church. Actually, no, not church. It was at a workshop for a photographer that we know. And we became friends that way. And
Go photographer that we know.
yes. And then I'm just grateful, like all the people that I've met here.
Yeah.
I know that like everywhere you go, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you're religious, like God puts you in the perfect time for the right reason. God puts you in a certain place for a certain reason. I think you just have to figure out what that reason is.
That's true. Like he's sending me a message through y'all.
Really?
Yeah. He sends his message through different people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're paying attention, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming to Weslaco, all the way over here. To both you and Geneva for, coming as friends and supporting each other. Hopefully when Geneva comes, you'll come too.
Yes.
Round two. But thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story and trusting me to, being able to share your story on my podcast. The first of hopefully many. I'm sure you'll come to do your own podcast in the future. I could just feel that's going to happen because just talking about it with people like you were mentioning opens up an opportunity for people to come out and not be so afraid to just speak of how they feel inside. And like you said, it makes you immediately feel way better.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cuadros' Corner is a podcast whose purpose is to bring connection within the local community of the Rio Grande Valley, a digital networking landscape to meet people through their stories of passion, business, desires, triumphs, and obstacles. Check out the podcast description to connect with guests through their links, and thank you for listening to Cuadros' Corner. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment.